The Pokemon Company International just sent me a package of the brand new Paradox Rift cards releasing on November 3rd, and we're going to look over some of the cards I pulled that I think are being really underrated in a competitive sense, beginning with Latios. Latios is a psychic basic Pokemon with 110 HP, and I think this card could end up slotting into the Gardevoir EX deck eventually. Currently, the Gardevoir EX deck has single prize attackers like Cresselia and Shining Arcana Gardevoir, but Latios offers something that those cards do not. It's a basic Pokemon. It's not part of the Curlia or Gardevoir or Ralts evolution line, which means you don't have to put one of them in danger in the active position. And for just 3 energy, it does 180 damage. And it's a single prize Pokemon, so you don't mind giving it up as a prize card. Cresselia, which is a common part of the deck, does 110 damage for 3 energy, and Shining Arcana Gardevoir can do Brainwave for 150 damage with 3 energy attached. So Latios has a higher damage output per energy compared to all the other single prize attackers that the deck currently has. So I'm not saying this card is broken or anything, and neither am I saying that for any of the cards we talk about today, but I think this card is worth taking a second look at. The next one I want to look at is Iron Jugulis. So Paradox Rift introduces these new future and ancient Pokemon. And Iron Jugulis, which is supposed to be kind of the future iteration of Hydreigon, is not one of the most sought after future or ancient Pokemon cards for competitive players at this time, at least. But I do think it has two interesting attacks. So it's a colorless Pokemon, basic, of course, 130 HP. The first attack, Honing Headbutt, homing headbutt does for 3 colorless energies, it does 50 damage to 3 of your opponent's Pokemon that have any damage counters on them already. This could be paired with something like the new Iron Valiant EX that spreads damage around, or the Hawlucha from Scarlet and Violet base set that puts damage counters on 2 of your opponent's benched Pokemon. I think this homing headbutt attack has a lot of potential for the future, even if it's not played right now, because there will be a world where Manaphy with Wave Veil that protects the bench will rotate out of standard format, and who knows if there will be another bench protector around. And Iron Jugulis puts out an incredible amount of damage spread very well around. I mean, 50-50-50. If there's 3 basic pre-evolution Pokemon that each have 60 HP and they all have 10 damage on them, Homing Headbutt can go knock out all of them at once. So I think that could be a really impressive attack. I also want to look at the Baryon Beam. For 5 colorless energy, it does 150, which typically would not be very good. But the attack says if this Pokemon has a future booster energy capsule attached to it, this attack can be used for 3 colorless energy. What is a future booster energy capsule, you might ask? Well, I have that card right here. I pulled a lot of good cards out of the packs that Pokemon sent me. So thanks again to the Pokemon Company International. The future booster energy capsule reads, the future Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost, and the attacks it uses do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So this attached to Iron Jugulis will give Iron Jugulis free retreat. Its attacks will do 20 more damage to the active, and Baryon Beam will be usable for only 3 colorless energies, the same as Homing Headbutt. So this is a really, really cool card. The art is beautiful, by the way. And let's move on to the next card that I think should not be overlooked, which is Aegislash, or Aegislash. I still don't know the correct way to say that. Aegislash is a stage 2 Pokemon with 150 HP. It has the ability Mysterious Shield. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX and Pokemon V. We've seen plenty of cards like this with this kind of ability that protects itself from Rulebox Pokemon. Now, this doesn't specify Rulebox Pokemon, it specifies EX and V Pokemon, so things like Radiant Pokemon will still be able to attack this. But I think the Mysterious Shield ability is pretty good, and Hard Bashing does 120 and goes through all effects. We saw a card not too unlike this Aegislash Decidueye from Darkness Ablaze a couple of years ago was pretty good in the competitive meta, and it was very similar. A stage 2 Pokemon with the same ability and an attack that did a similar amount of damage. Now, something to note that's special about Aegislash, I've said this Pokemon's name like 3 different times in the past 30 seconds, is that there's also an Aegislash EX in this set. The Aegislash EX, look at the HP difference. So the EX, of course, is worth 2 prizes when knocked out, but it has 180 more HP than the regular Stage 2 Aegislash. So these can both evolve from the same Pokemon. This evolves from Doublade, this evolves from Doublade, or Rare Candy down onto Honedge. So this Aegislash EX has 2 attacks, and like I said, a whole lot more of HP. The first attack is Peerless Edge. It does 70 times. For 1 metal energy, this attack does 70 damage for each prize card you have taken, and then Double Edged Slash does 220 damage for 2 metal energy, and it also does 30 damage to itself. So this Aegislash EX could be included as just 1 copy in an Aegislash deck that's focused on this Mysterious Shield ability, but when that ability fails to wall out your Pokemon or your opponent's Pokemon, you could use this Aegislash EX that does a whole lot of damage and also has a lot of HP. The next card I want to look at is Tatsugiri. This card really surprised me when I pulled it out of a pack yesterday. So it has this survival strategy. Now I want you to remember this set is almost being released simultaneous with Japan. So a lot of these cards, most of these cards have not been tested in a competitive capacity. So we have a very unique opportunity here for a lot of people outside of Japan to be discovering meta cards and interesting combos and full techs and everything. Usually the players in Japan do that for us ahead of time because they get the cards first. So Tatsugiri has the survival strategy attack. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand. Then shuffle your deck. You may switch this Pokemon with one of your benched Pokemon. I've read this attack 3 or 4 times because I couldn't believe how cool and how interesting it is. Let's imagine that we have a double turbo energy to attach to this Tatsugiri, so it can use survival strategy for just 1 energy attachment. We get to search our deck for any 2 cards, and then we can move this Tatsugiri to the bench and put something else out. Maybe like this Aegislash with Mysterious Shield that can't be hit by EX or V Pokemon, or the Mimikyu from a previous set that has the same ability. Maybe Klefki that turns off basic Pokemon abilities, or just something with a whole lot of HP to soak up attacks. This survival strategy attack could be huge for control and stall style strategies. I'm really excited to see what happens with this Tatsugiri. I would be shocked if this Tatsugiri is never part of a control or stall style deck for its standard format lifespan, and it just got printed, so it will be around for a few years to come. I think this Tatsugiri could be really good in a control style deck, and I'm excited to see if I'm right, because that attack, search for any 2 cards, then retreat it to the bench as part of the attack. We escape to the bench, and we send out whatever bench Pokemon we want. And that switching effect is known to be very good. Searching for any 2 cards you want is known to be very good. Put them all together, it's on a basic single prizer. I think this is a home run for stall and control strategies. And like I said, I think this should definitely not be underrated. The last card I want to talk about is also for control or stall style strategies. It's the Slither Wing. It's an ancient Pokemon, and the attack we're looking at here on it is the Stomp Off attack. Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. This can be used because it's just a single prize Pokemon with a lot of HP. You can even attach the Ancient Booster Capsule to it that gives it more HP, plus 60 to bring it up to 200 HP, and just discard the top card of your opponent's deck each turn. Now, there is a Crab and Abominable V in the format that has the same attack for a water, and it discards the top 2 cards from your opponent's deck, I believe. But this is a single prize Pokemon, and it can benefit from Ancient Booster Capsule and any other ancient cards that might come out in the future. So I wanted to give this guy a shout for the Stomp Off attack that can discard the top card of your opponent's deck, but also Burning Turbulence 120. You could take out an Iron Hands EX with that attack as well. So it's multifaceted. It can do 2 things: remove a threat or discard the top card of your opponent's deck. And those are all the cards I wanted to talk about today, especially this little Tatsugiri that I'm really excited about. I think this dude is underrated as heck. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and thank you again to the Pokemon Company International for sending me the new Paradox Rift products. I am so excited about this set. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for more Pokemon TCG content. And if you'd like to support my channel, you can do so using the links and coupon codes in the description down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celios Network.